Waiting.
Oh
That's
gosh,
funny.
about to go live on my phone now too. This is a first for me. Well, not a first, but I've done it before. But not a whole lot. What it do?
See what I'm saying? See,
What it do?
that's what he does.
So first of all,
Oh, damn it,
sorry we're
Christina.
late, you guys. We got set up the studio. The equipment was being stupid. For those of y'all that live stream and all that, you guys know what's up.
Hi,
But-
Christina.
Yep. Oh, hey, Christina. Christina Elder's on the line with Troy.
How you doing?
Yeah.
First of all, slow it down.
So,
you are
anyways,
live.
we're live right now.
Hold on.
Appreciate y'all being here. So I'm gonna pass it over to my co-host Karina. Let her introduce herself. She got a new intro, y'all.
Hold on, wait.
Y'all ready for it?
What happened to yours?
What's that?
You didn't have an intro?
It's all good. I'm the hostess with the mostest. We running late. I want to get it moving, baby.
That's
Karina, there you at?
What's up, you guys? Karina Cook here, tax strategist, business consultant, and a just businesswoman. I'm here with y'all. Cannot wait to unload what we got today.
Yes. Oh, she's just all right. We're gonna work on that.
ridiculously nice.
We're gonna work
My
on
bad,
that.
y'all.
And Mr. Troy,
We're gonna get you
who
some prompts.
inadvertently joined us on accident, but
Yeah,
he's
it
always
really-
welcome.
You know what? Thank you for that. I appreciate that. That's why I
let
love
my
you.
IG say hi. Hey, what
up,
up, gray beard?
You see what I'm saying? You with the full head of gray hair,
I
and then you
shit.
talking about
I
my
shaved
gray
today on
beard.
purpose because I had a feeling Troy would be here, and I'd be like, well, I'm gonna let him be the only one with a gray beard.
Ooh, listen, that's how
I
you
got it
come
too.
in.
My wife be like, why your eyebrows don't get gray either?
Yeah, that's it.
I don't know.
It's like you fake it.
It's genetics.
It's like
That
you're a
is
bottle
so
blonde.
funny.
Yeah, I will. I'll
She
call you
said,
back. I'm sorry. I do. I'll call you back in a second.
If you're watching this,
She
bye,
said,
Christina.
said hi.
See you
Bye.
later. Love your face. What's up,
You guys are
man? How
fun.
are you?
Oh, I am blessed. I am well.
Yep.
I am.
It's almost kind of perfect you're here because you had some Hades last time.
Mhm.
We're not gonna dive too far into it deep in it, but social media, y'all crazy.
But
You
you know
guys
what?
are
I've
reckless.
always like the infamous
Yeah.
Cat Williams said, if you don't have any haters, you ain't doing your job.
Yeah, and if you got 10, you got to get to 20 by
You
the
gotta
end of
get
the
to
year.
20. I'm trying to get to a good. Well, how I talked before about being Googleable.
Okay,
yeah,
I said
yeah,
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
That comes with haters.
Yeah.
It does come with haters.
Yeah.
You're not
I
lying.
can see that.
Yeah. So one thing I'll say, I'm gonna use a word that one of my clients I heard her say for the first time, and I was like, "What does that mean?" Crash out.
Oh, you have not heard?
No,
Crash
I mean,
Out.
this was months ago, but like before I heard them say it, I was like, "What is
Yeah.
this crash out you
Yes.
speak of?"
Yes. Yes.
What do you
Man,
mean crash out?
Yeah. Do you know what it means?
No.
There you
It's
go.
like going off.
It means like
on
you're
a
like you're on
tangent.
some dumbish. Like
Yeah.
you just like
Crash out.
you're crashing out. Like bro, like you're crashing. The plane is crashing.
Yeah.
You're losing it.
I'm not talking a lot today.
Okay.
I'm letting you guys.
Whack.
Anyway, so there is with certain. I love words, right? Love them, and some words that get put out there, some phrases that get out there, kind of bother me.
Mm.
I'm gonna go ahead and say crash out as well.
Oh,
Doesn't
so you
make any
knew what it?
No,
because
No, he's
doesn't
saying
make
now
any
that
sense.
he's heard it, he
said-
does not.
said it doesn't make any
Troy
sense.
does not approve.
It does not make.
Well, it's already
But
in the atmosphere, so it's nothing really.
y'all
kidding.
do kids stuff.
Yeah. So today, it's been a good week for us. I mean,
Yeah.
like for all of us.
Yeah, very.
I mean, well, I don't know, Troy. I mean, it sounded like it was a good week for you.
No, it's been a good week.
Yeah.
I mean, we all made it to Friday.
There you go. You know
There
what?
you go.
So William, who's a friend of ours, a client of ours, every time I talk to him, I say, "How are you doing?" He says, "I'm thriving," and I
Mm.
love and so I just like enjoy just because he's just so positive. But the
Yeah.
other thing is when he talks about some of his content that we produced and it will be coming out soon. Is one of the things he talks about is when people be like, "Oh, it's a Monday," and he was like, "And if we're blessed, we'll get to Tuesday."
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
such a good way to think about
Yeah.
it.
it is. Though I mean,
And like, why don't people think like that?
what people be like? People will say, "Oh, I can't wait till Friday," and I've always looked at them like, "Okay, why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you not gonna do?" I mean, you're blessed if you look at it. I had a conversation a long time ago with a guy who I played racquetball with, and we happened to run into each other in the parking lot. And it was after Christmas, And he was like, well, you know, I got to deal with my bills and all this from the Christmas stuff. I was like, wait, isn't that
first world problems that you got bills?
But isn't that the blessing though?
Yeah,
a bill is a blessing.
Yeah.
If you have no bills, I don't know what kind of life you have. Right? If you have nothing to pay for, and you can ask, billionaires have bills. Hella bills. Those bills would make a regular person kind of, oh, I don't want to be that. Never mind, I'm cool.
Yep.
You know, but we all got PG&E bills, got car notes. And if you don't have a car note, cool.
Yeah.
But if you're blessed to have a high credit card bill in January because you had your kids or your grandkids, your spouse or whatever had a great Christmas, isn't that the point?
Well, it's all how I think obviously it's like looking at that individual's lifestyle. And I think, of course, we're here talking about mindset, but like learning how to appreciate the little things. And also when you think about it, speeding up to Friday is like, why you want to even speed up the time anyway? I would want to enjoy it. But you know what? I cannot lie. I used to be that person because I would be like, oh my God, it's Monday. Like Monday feels so slow. And I think even talking in that manner made it that way. Like,
you speak it into existence.
Yeah. So
you talk it being heavy.
Yeah.
You talk it like, oh my God, I gotta deal with this.
Yeah.
So I talk like that when I have to meet with Cam.
Aw.
So last night, FLGL3, we had our board meeting, right? And we were like, man, like, you know, like we got this momentum. We're doing all this. Like, what's something cool we could do with Mics and Mindset? So it's actually kind of perfect you're here.
Oh,
okay.
So we came up with an idea. I'm gonna put it out. I'm gonna put live out there. We're gonna talk about it. Is almost like a live Shark Tank / coaching with people on Mics and Mindsets. So people can sign up to then sit where Troy's sitting, and like me, you, and G, from our perspectives of experience, will like talk about that person's business. You know, you'll obviously be like, what's your numbers look like? Blah, 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 blah. Well, you know, Glenn and I will talk about, you know, like leadership. Do you have employees? What's the goals? Like processes, all that. Like, and so it's like live coaching for people that, you know, that offer to come on.
Wow.
Value driven.
Period.
See? What do we say?
Look,
she's like, oh, that's a great idea.
No. I actually like that because I think it gives it some substance. You know, like, okay, what could we help drive this person? Because if they're coming on here and they're also talking about their business, whatever they have going on, promoting something, that would be good. You know, hopefully with the numbers, that's something somebody want to open up to, because you know people don't want to talk about. They're pretty private about that, but
well, that's why you'd have to sign up, and we'd be like, hey, you know, and there might even be like things where like, hey, this might be like proprietary, or like this might be too much, but in a general sense, like,
well, you can speak generally about if you are doing, you can speak honestly generally.
Yeah.
You know, you can't. Oh yeah, no, I'm doing well. No, you're not. Calm it down.
Well, like so
the bigger you go, no, you're not.
I was already kind of like, how can we do this? Only because like, so David Shands is someone that I follow a lot on parts, and like one of the things he does is hot seat.
And I love.
And and it was we had we're going to his conference, and because of that conference and the ticket we got, like we have these one-on-one calls every month just for the people who bought that ticket. So like this last week, I was in a call with him, and there was only 6 of us.
Oh, cool.
So like and he already knows who I am because of I've hopped on stage before to talk, but like he was talking about the premise of how he did hot seat. He's like, everybody wants to talk to successful business owners. Well, what's different? What's the opposite of that? I want to talk to people who maybe they're not as successful, and then talk them through maybe how they can become successful. Like that's like people are kind of getting over the like, I'm so successful, hear me talk. Let's talk to the average person who's trying to make it. And if they're willing to let me kind of break them, you know, their business model down, but constructively.
I love that. Though.
Why not?
You know, one of the things I have a problem with is the unsexy part of business never gets talked about.
Yeah.
People will, and there's there's starting your business, struggling, becoming successful. And right before you're really successful, there's that bad part. There's an ugly part of business that you really have to push through, you know, but we get a lot of conversations on the after that part.
Yeah.
or right at the end. So, you know, it's like, yeah. So one thing I figured out, I had to streamline this and do this and that. Okay, that's great. But we want people to get involved in business and let them know this is not fun.
Yeah, that's true.
This is not fun.
Yeah.
And so we were talking earlier about getting to Friday, and I used to be talking to people, well, why? Because in my head, I'm still working on Saturday.
Yeah, that's a fact. Now, listen, so when you say that reminded me that when I thought that way, I was actually working as an employee.
Yeah.
Like it was literally that
mindset. Yeah.
Now it is nonstop. It's like, well, I'll work at or late at night or whatever, and a win is a win.
A win
also,
is a win, yeah.
So during this process, I'm like, cool, can I walk through a win during this week?
Yeah.
And it I think pushes you even further to be like, okay, yeah, cool. But I totally agree with what you just said. It's like,
yeah, it's like
talk about it.
Entrepreneurs don't have. Let's talk about why you've been up until 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And still got to get up at 7 because you have a meeting at 8.
Ooh.
You know, that ugly part of business, the struggling, the failures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People don't want to talk about those sort of things. People want to just hear, well, I don't want to hear about failures. We all fail. Yes.
You're going to hop on?
We all fail, but do we all continue after the failure?
Yeah.
Or do we just take that and like, oh, that was it?
Yeah.
I failed and then that was it. Yeah. So it becomes, you know, once again, why are you looking forward to Friday, dude? I have a meeting. I got an event I got to go to on Saturday morning. And then I got another.
Dreams are made on weekends.
You know, and it is. But that becomes the thing, though, is it I'm going to grind and grind and grind, but no one's going to hear it. I'll hear about that part. I'm only going to show my success so whoever catches me on TikTok and Instagram, they're only going to see, you know, my success, but not those late nights when I'm bumping and stubbing my toe on my office door at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Because I got to go get a cup of coffee because I still hasn't finished this presentation.
Oof.
Oh, not the PowerPoint, though.
Right? I mean, right?
Yeah,
but
that's
like, that's like, oh, yeah, I remember. I still gotta do a proposal this week. My weekend is full with a proposal this weekend.
Well, yeah.
You know? So, but that's the work.
That's so like even with the event that we just did for Faith Over Finance, that was one of the things that I said this time I'm gonna get more vulnerable in the process. So I started to do like videos of like, okay, we're making the t-shirts, or I'm really tired and this is happening, or you know, even sharing that experience with people during like, okay, I don't even know if I was ready for this, but during the process I had to do this and this and this, so people could see that it's still forming and that I'm not like, it's not figured out all the way yet, and that's fine. I think that when you do those kind of things, it does help people, like what he's talking about with David Chance. I've seen some of those videos, and he just recently posted one where it kind of makes me cringe a little bit for the person on the other side, like because they're like, they're opening up to a place where it's like, okay, well, I think I am doing well. But then when you start to, you know, point out the things that they're actually not really doing so great at, it's like, oh, okay. But just imagine for everyone else. Because I still take nuggets from some of those things. I'm like, dang, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. I think one of the things we leave out and people leave out, and like David Chan always wants to point out, he points these things out, is that we can always be doing better.
Right.
And no matter where you're at, no matter what, I don't care how much money you make.
Yeah.
So let's not go by a matrix of money.
Right.
Let's go by the idea of, okay, how efficient are you? What's your purpose? Are you accomplishing everything? You know, if your only goal is to make $1 million, but you have nothing else, when you get there, are you fulfilled after that?
Right.
Are you doing like the little things? I was watching this guy on it was an Instagram reel. So I've always had a well-rounded person, especially a student, is driven by athletics, arts, and academics. You have to have to be
AAA.
Well, you have to be a well-rounded person. And each one of those things teaches you something.
Yeah.
You know, art is always one of those things that teach you to see things different. I think art, being involved in appreciating art, shows you how to think outside the box.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can't, because a painting is always going to hit somebody different.
It's also subjective. Yeah.
But it makes you think.
It makes you understand what you find is valuable. Yeah.
Yes. Athletics teach you how to work in a team atmosphere.
Yeah.
It teach you how to, play nice with each other.
Does it?
It should, but it also
Athletics takes me to smash on fools.
Oh wow.
But how we had talked about
That's
this.
so funny. Must have been football.
I mean, it was everything.
But also how we had talked before about teammates and knowing your lane, and giving that up. If you're going to be in football, I know I can't throw the ball, but I can catch. My job isn't to worry about who can throw the ball. My job is to worry about when it's in the air. You think with these two, they both got, their strengths and their weaknesses.
Well, remember Cam when I was talking to you about that?
What's that?
So Cam always talks about when you are starting to delegate certain things to people. Yeah. He had me realize that because I was going through a process of like, okay, I am hiring other people to like do the other things that I was probably doing, trying to do it all, and it was not efficient. And I'm like, but how do you get past that?
Trust.
Yeah, he was like, listen, it takes a little time, and you have to like let it go. And so I've learned that now with building a team. It's like, or being on a team, because I never played sports. Everything was just solo.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of, except for me being like a sibling, but other than that, it's just me doing everything.
Yeah.
And so
but you fall into that, and then you understand there's that part where you kind of have to, that you haven't done enough and you can't do everything alone.
Yeah.
Well, I try to explain to like our clients, right? Like our virtual assistant clients specifically is inadvertently you get more organized because now you have to delegate.
Yeah.
It's nice. You say like, oh, I want to hire this person and then I want them to do stuff for me. What are they going to do?
What?
Yeah,
Do you have it aligned to where you can explain it to them of what you need them to do? Because a lot of people think they do, and they're like, oh, it's up here. And I'm like, that's cute. I need it here.
So
I need it here.
Be able to hand it to someone.
Otherwise, you're gonna say that like our people are inefficient. It's like, no, you're inefficient because you weren't organized.
You weren't organized,
and that's okay. There's always going to be these triggers that force you to level up.
Yes.
There's always I mean, when we first started using VAs, it was weird for me because I was like, what do I just like throw everything on you? And then I'm like, why did you do everything? And I'm like, never mind, you're still a person.
and then you even get into that mindset of,
why did you do everything?
Okay, he's doing that. Okay, what am I supposed to do?
I gave you $200 of work to do in a week.
Yeah.
And now you have to, then you start to kind of second guess yourself. If you have a partnership with someone and you delegate that out, then that's supposed to, quote unquote, it's like, oh yeah, you delegate, so it frees up your time.
It frees up your time.
Frees up my time to do what? Yeah. What now am I supposed to do?
That? But that's the thing. Like, what I think is important for us to know that there's so many other things that we could do to bring in more money. So how I start to look at it is like, well, from a monetary standpoint, or not even that. It's like, well, if I am going to hire somebody, so I waited for a while too, because I was like, well, I got to make sure that I have enough for them to do.
Yeah.
And
Karina be looking at them ducats, boy.
I can't help it. So, but it's like, okay, if I have enough for them,
ducats.
If I have enough for them to do, I have to also put myself in a position to now make more money. So if I'm spending it $200 or whatever, right, a day or a week, then I should be getting $400 to $500 additional to me, right?
Yeah.
So I think it put me in a position to say, okay, well, if I'm going to hire out or delegate this to this and this, I need to be doing something that's going to generate more money.
Yes.
So on that point, though, what I will say is I think ROI is important. Initial ROI can be tricky.
Yeah.
Because for instance, like when G and I brought on, like I remember, I got to sell my business partners on the idea of we're giving people money, right? And I said, hey, we're gonna bring Jazz on full time, and I was like, it's gonna cost us this.
Yeah,
we're probably not gonna make that money back for the first 3 or 4 months because we got to get the processes. We need to, and we also need to understand is how does that ROI get returned other than you're just saving me time, like you said.
Yeah.
You saved me time, but what did I do with that time?
Right.
Or
what happened?
Or what happened, right? And so like, but now, we always talk about like, and I try and do a better job of expectation management because we always talk about how great our VAs are, but I'm like, we've had them for 18 months. They imagine having an employee for 18 months from month 1 to 18.
Yeah.
And they were actively growing with your company.
Yeah.
They're
helping you
build. And, well, and they build themselves up to like, Glenn always talks about, like, you have people who can only run 2 miles, but you need them to run 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's levels to, like, what people can bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Yeah.
So, but that does come as you're saying that, and sitting here thinking of the idea of bringing in somebody. So, like Tiff and I are we're expanding what we do.
Yeah.
But it's our stuff is very nichey.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to figure out a way to make it more, to broaden it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we'll be able to bring in more employees, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
That come in, okay, we can tell you what is happening, but then how are you going to grow?
Correct.
Because I don't want you to come in just to have a job. I want you to come in to have growth.
Yeah.
Because that sort of attitude and energy comes right back into the business.
Yeah. Right. Oof.
Yeah.
And you want that.
Yeah.
That's what you want to have. You want people with ambition and growth and want to do things. It's just our job to be able to set that up.
Yeah.
How you said, like, okay, it's in my head, but can I put it on paper?
For sure.
And then be
able
to
then you might realize this shit don't even make sense. or there's like a lot of time being wasted, because as you map out processes, you're like, oh man, there's like, or there's a single point of failure here, or things of that nature.
And you see what you've actually been sometimes, and it'll hit you. Putting things down on paper will have you see things different.
Yeah.
Because you can see, like, okay, this is a lot.
It is a lot.
I was talking to my friend.
I was about to talk some mad mess, but I just left it alone. I'll be like, or on stone tablets, Troy.
Is that where we're gonna go?
Hashtag.
Is that what we're doing?
Hashtag you look my age and I don't.
Whoa, buddy.
What is going on? He said, whoa.
See, you keep messing with me. This is what we get. I try not to.
Yo, put in the comments a one of who looks.
Oh my god.
One Cam looks younger, a two.
I'm not saying that you're an ugly man. You're
I know
a handsome man.
I know I ain't ugly.
But
haters gonna hate, potatoes gonna potato.
Stop. Hi, Glenn.
So that being said, love you, but we're gonna take a break because Glenn's gonna hop in now.
Glenn's gonna hop in. Yep. Thank you, everybody, for letting me hang out.
Tell them where to find you.
By accident.
Tell them where to find you.
Instagram, Troy on Instagram. We have to have another meeting because the podcast is coming. I just got to name it.
Yes.
And
you gotta name it.
I don't know what I'm gonna. I just said I gotta name it, and I said I have to name it. That means I haven't named it.
We're gonna name it Gray Bush.
Yes. See what I'm saying right there?
Y'all are crazy.
Everybody likes Glenn.
That's okay. Like I said, you've met me, but have you met Glenn?
But I do have a podcast coming up. It's pretty cool. We like the concept of it. I've had it in my back pocket for a few years, but thanks to these guys at L3, and we're gonna make it.
We're gonna make it happen.
We'll make it a thing.
I'm excited about that.
No, it's gonna be dope.
It's gonna be dope.
It's gonna be dope. I mean, it's one of those things that you only have these kind of ideas and this kind of energy for something doesn't come around.
For sure.
And so, and once again, feeding back into the community.
Facts.
I love it.
All of it. TrinityGroup.com is the name of the company. We're still doing a big push for immigration, paperwork, and all that. You can find everything you need on there and how to contact us. And that's about it for now. Oh, we have all the other stuff. The platter is a platter.
Hella platter.
And I'm not gonna burden everybody with that right now.
Funny.
But we love you, Troy.
Love you
as always.
Good, Troy.
So as G takes the chair, the man, the myth, the legend. You love him. Everybody's favorite man from Philly.
Let's give it up.
But we're gonna say thank you to y'all watching on Instagram. Appreciate y'all. What's up, Jeremy? Can't wait to have you on the podcast. JB's marketed by JC. We got to get that meeting rescheduled. Kels. And then for those of y'all on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Chaz, love your face, bro. So that's who commented right here, my boy. So he said your clients, customers, and those not in the circle only see 40% of everything you're doing. The other 60 is the process of getting where you're trying to go.
Ooh.
Yes, sir.
Ate that up.
Glenn, you're here now, but he said he's looking forward to executing on our idea. So we're going to talk about that more now that the three of us are in here. Essex just laughed, because I say funny stuff. That's my dog. He laughs at my jokes. What's up, G?
What's going on, man?
How are you?
Excellent.
Yeah.
Happy to be here. I'm here for a quick 20.
You're quick. Hey, that's all right. We got 25 left. We'll take it.
There you go.
That's what's up.
So, I mean, we didn't talk about dropping the idea this day, but I feel like
it was perfect. I was listening to it in the car.
So like, let's talk about it. Like, we had our meeting last night, and Tegan came up with, with the other idea. Do we want to talk about that too? Or are we gonna hold that one for a second?
No, let's go.
The speed.
Oh,
okay,
we executed.
I'm gonna let G drop it because
we were
the speed dating thing.
Yes. So one of the ideas that we were talking about at our board meeting is how they have the concept of speed dating.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously with us being involved in business, the concept will be more around speed coaching, right? And so Cam and I are fortunate to have a laundry list full of individuals who are skilled when it comes to entrepreneurship, when it comes to coaching, training, development. And so us putting together a list of individuals, right? So let's say it's just 6 to 10 individuals, right? There's 6 to 10 different stations.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a time limit where if I am interested in business, if I am an entrepreneur, if I'm in nonprofiting, whatever, and I'm looking to get coaching, instead of just hiring us for our service, it's another way to provide value to the community, right? And so we have these tables set up, and let's say we set up a 10-minute timer. And once we set up that timer, is go, right? And so now you can get coached about tax strategy and business development and optimization and just all these different sectors. So the idea is to have these coaches from different industries, different skill sets, so that one individual rotating around, they are getting they're getting the appetizer, right? They have a direct individual conversation that they're having to be able to begin their level up or continue their level up. So that's what we're talking about. We're looking at confirming a date, and then we're gonna make it happen.
That's fire.
So,
I love
shout out to the wifey team.
Hey,
I love the board meetings.
The dog.
Listen, don't play.
Yeah,
I love.
So what do you think?
I think that's amazing.
Good, because your name's on the list.
Yeah. By the way, you're doing it
as one of the coaches.
So wait, is this separate? This
is 2 ideas. So there's the one that I talked about, which is on here, and then this is like an event that we put on.
Yes. So more to come. More to come.
Yeah,
so
I love that.
With that, for the viewers that are watching, if they have particular skill sets,
hit us up.
And you want to put your name in a pool to be a part of that program, that event, the workshop, hit us up.
Yeah. Ooh, that's fire.
Because realistically, we could have, obviously we have like finance, marketing, business, processes. Like, I mean, you could run the gambit.
For sure.
Yeah. And that is important for people to find. Because I was just telling, first of all, I'm big on having a coach and mentor.
Oh yeah.
Now that's one thing I will say that I don't like to do on my own, right? Is get a mentor. But I think that allows people to, like you said, get an appetite. But it's like you have to find the mentor that actually fits you, and then just jumping in it isn't always advised, because I've jumped into mentorship and it wasn't the best for me. So I think that gives them, but it also shows them like all the things that they need to implement.
And the mentorship is like dating, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, not every individual who has a title mentor is fit for every individual.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's the relationship.
Yeah. That's fire.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's happening. So we're going to draft up the idea more in depth on what it looks like, and then put it on the calendar, and we're going to execute on it.
So speaking of events,
Faith
Over Finance, the inaugural.
Yes.
How do you feel? And first, tell people once again what it was for those that don't know, and then let's download a little piece of that.
Yeah. So Faith Over Finance, it was pretty much, this event was to be able to bring people in to see like, hey, this is what we have going on, but also like how you can be a part of it, and then how you can have a space to hear real conversations about, and hear speakers and everyone else be vulnerable about their faith and their finances. it allowed people to like really dive into what that meant for them and how it can relate to you, because there's people that think these things, but they don't always feel heard or seen. And it allows them to say, okay, I'm normal and this is normal. Then I can go through this process knowing that there's a, like, you know, wherever you are financially and wherever you are in your faith, whatever stage you're in, there's still more to come. Right. And so you'll always be tested. And this just shows that, like, we're human. And then this is what we did to get past it. And when you open up a space to be able to do that, I think you'll get more abundance, more will come to you. And that is what I felt like, you guys, the whole time I talked about this event, that was the vision. And it was crazy to see it play out. So I was like listening to it and then remembering what I was saying out loud to people, like, this is what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And it was exactly that.
Bada bing, bada
yeah,
boom.
it was, I think, I'm still on a high from it.
Of course.
First, I did my own event, right? Like,
Yeah.
and it's powerful to see again, to see a vision come to life. It's like, okay, now I really call myself a visionary, because I made that happen out of nothing.
For sure.
I got people involved with it. People were able to connect. Like, I love the part where everyone started networking. Like, it was like halftime, y'all. So it gave them a little something. Halftime came, everybody was like, boom, let's start. And it was so natural. And I didn't really see people sitting down and feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's like standing up, moving around and stuff. That was cool.
That was fire. and then the last thing I will say is, like, the calls I got after, it was like, okay, listen, I'm able to break through this. It opened my eyes to say I can work on this better. I'm getting people reaching out to me like, how can I get better at this? And who can I connect with? And it may not be me, but at least I can be the bridge for someone else. And people want to be a part of it. And I'm so excited.
That's
good.
Yeah. It's good to see that. I would say one of the things that I took away from there, and seeing, like, is one thing when folks have conferences or workshops and it's just like, oh, you know, it's information to motivate people.
Yeah.
B. Simone was dropping some practical principles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
bombs.
You know, because, like, and I feel that when it comes to budgeting, people just talk about it on the surface level of what you could just Google.
Yeah.
Right? Like budgeting 101.
Yeah.
B. Simone went a layer deeper by providing that practicality where folks, like, real time could leave there and go implement.
Oh, Simone Lane.
Or Simone.
Okay,
Yeah,
I was like,
what I call
B.
B.
Simone. I was like,
Where
I
I
think
get
I
B.
have
Simone
B.
from?
Simone.
Yeah.
Or
she's like an artist or something.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I'm sorry. You know what? She was talking about budgeting, so I put the B in front.
There you go.
Her budgeting is called her
Bespoke.
Yeah.
Bespoke. Okay.
Bespoke.
Yeah.
Got you.
By Simone.
By Simone.
There you was close.
Shout out. Yeah. I'm just blending it together. But yeah, that was pretty dope.
Yeah.
No, it was cool because, like, there's not a lot being done here.
Yeah.
Like, if we're just being 100. What's up, man? Come on in. We're on. So I'm gonna let him sit in my seat. But not a lot of people are doing that around here, so I think it's best when people do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, and it shows people like, oh wow, things can be done here.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the biggest thing. It's like people need to see it be done. Which leads me into our guest for the day.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so before you introduce them, one of the things that I appreciate about visionaries and folks not being afraid to step outside the box and bring something new to a place is similar to what we're about to talk about here in a second. And so don't ever be afraid to color outside the lines and step outside the box.
Yeah.
So,
no, I'm sorry here.
Okay.
Anyways, so we're about to have Kurt Johnston come on. He is sponsoring today's episode. He is the owner of West Wind Music, and they are putting on the Vineyard Jam, the first country music concert to come to the Sassoon Valley, Solano County, anything. And it's important that this message gets out because this is not just some other, like, we're putting on a concert to, like, make money, right? Like, this is literally impacting the community directly. And so he's going to come and he's going to talk to you guys about it. So without further ado, G, I'm going to put it on you. And then Kurt, when you sit down, it's going to be on you.
Awesome. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a lot of visuals, content that you will see floating around for this upcoming amazing event. that I've had the pleasure to kind of sit in and listen to the idea. So now we go from idea to execution. Kurt, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, thanks. I've been in meetings all day, and sorry I'm a little bit late.
No worries.
But I'm thrilled. You know, we're 30 days out from the first major concert in Fairfield. Fairfield has never seen anything like this, and certainly not in Sassoon Valley. And there's another event. There are some events on Mare Island, but it's called Vineyard Jam Sassoon Valley. It's on Saturday, June 28th. It's a one-day event. It's basically the gates open at noon. First performance at 1 o'clock, and it goes all the way to 9:15.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Mark your calendars.
Yeah. So we basically have 8 hours of almost continuous country music. We designed it to have 2 stages so that the music could be continuous. You know, there'll be maybe a 10 or 15 minute break between, so you can get up and buy a beer.
Gotcha.
You know,
Gotcha.
buy some of our merchandise, you know. But the original concept for this music festival, I have run the Solano Community College Educational Foundation for the past 13 years. And quite frankly, I was frustrated that we weren't making a big enough difference. I mean, we've done about $3.5 million since 2013. It's okay, but it's not enough.
Right.
The interesting thing about raising money for community colleges is that people generally don't give to their community college. They think if they've graduated from college, they give to their 4-year degree, their graduate program. And then, you know, if they do consider giving to community college, it's a small amount. So I've probably been talking about this music concert or potential for a concert at Solano College for 5 or 10 years. And it finally came together. A company called FT Presents, Fraser Traeger Presents, did Daca Bay Music Festival. And I went to that, and they got up to 4,500 people in a small venue. And I said, you know, there's no reason we can't do this.
Right.
So I've contracted with them to help produce this event. And we went about, and we had to first decide what type of music, quite frankly. I developed a list of about 150 different artists, and we ended up at country. So I'll talk more about the artists in a few minutes, but I wanted to just say, so the concept was a fundraiser from the very beginning. And it was a fundraiser for what we call the Pathway to College program. So it's going to fund after-school programming for disadvantaged youth, tutoring, mentoring, gang diversion. And when those kids get to Solano College, give them scholarships. You know, there's also special populations like foster youth and things like that we want to support. So that was the concept. And then I also, from a personal standpoint, I wanted to promote Sassoon Valley. I had a 30-year career in city planning, economic development, redevelopment, and I realized how precious open space is. Residential land values are probably 4 times what the ag values are.
Right.
Nobody could imagine developing a subdivision in the middle of Napa Valley, but they could in Sassoon Valley. I mean, you just have to go one valley over, Green Valley, and you see all the development there. And in particular with the Forever California plan and with all the private investment, that $1 billion that went into Central Solano, if just a fraction of that money went into Sassoon Valley, you know, it could be developed. It really is fragile. So the best way to preserve Sassoon Valley was to promote it. And it's fabulous. It's a premium wine area, just that nobody knows. I mean, we've got 250,000 people a day driving along Interstate 80 at 680 and 12.
Right.
They don't know that there's world-class wineries 10 minutes away. I mean, what Camus has done in Sassoon Valley is equivalent to any Napa Valley facility. So people just don't know it's here. So, you know, promoting Sassoon Valley and helping sustain Sassoon Valley as an agriculture area was always a part of it. But when we got into it, and we, you know, the Vintners and Growers Association loved it, the Conference and Visitors Bureau loved it, my board loved it, and then reality struck. Oh my God, this is just too much money, too much liability, too much labor, and they had to say, Kurt, we just can't do this. So, I did the thing that a reasonable person did with a little bit of resources. I said, okay, I'll quit my job and start a music company. So that's literally how it started.
Wow.
I knew I couldn't do it as a nonprofit. I could afford to invest in it, but I couldn't afford to give the money away.
Right.
And there were people saying, Kurt, if you're going to invest that much money, why don't you just donate it?
Gotcha.
Well, that would have been a one-time donation. Right. What I was trying to do is create something for the future. So West Wind Music was created. It's a hybrid form of corporation. It's for profit, which I needed to put money in to attract investors, to sell shares, all those types of things that are for profit. But in this case, a social purpose corporation must carry out social or environmental purposes.
Right.
The board of directors have, in a typical organization, a for-profit organization, a fiduciary responsibility to maximize profits. And they can get sued if they don't.
Right.
In this form of corporation, they have an equal obligation to carry out the social or environmental purposes. In our case, the pathway to college and sustainable agriculture, supporting sustainable agriculture. So in the future, as this corporation, grows and grows, the board of directors will always be evaluated against how much they give away versus how much they take. So what we're trying to do is split the after-tax profits 50-50, which you say, well, you're keeping 50%. No, in this case, we're reinvesting the 50% because it will take years. It could take 3 to 5 years for the corporation to actually make any money. So knowing that in the first year, what I've done is I've created a plan in the first year that even if the corporation doesn't make any money, we will distribute anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000 to local nonprofits. Nice. And you say, well, wait, if you're not making any money, how are you doing that? So because I've been in this nonprofit space in Solano County, literally for, 13 years, but I've worked here for 35 years in this town. I just have a lot of connections. So I'm incoming member of the Fairfield Sassoon Rotary Club. So we're using 3 Rotary clubs as bartenders. They'll basically get a portion of the bartending sales. They could make, it's probably going to be about 15, 20,000 to Rotary clubs. I've got a nonprofit, which is called the Coach Sarna League. They're an NFL affiliated flag football league out of the Vallejo Police Athletic League. They are doing the parking concession for me. So instead of hiring bartenders and instead of hiring a private contractor, I'm hiring volunteers. I've got Solano Land Trust helping pouring wine in the VIP area. I've got a nonprofit that's called the 100 Club of Yolo and Solano. They're basically a nonprofit that supports the families of fallen local heroes. So there are a lot of retired police, sheriff, and firefighters. So they're supplementing the security at the event. They volunteer, and I pay the nonprofit.
Nice.
The last one I really love is American Canyon Chamber of Commerce has a youth entrepreneurship nonprofit.
Really?
And when I found out about that, it's the economic development part of me. I said, yeah, I'd love to support that. So I'm one of their founding sponsors. And in exchange, they're coordinating all the food trucks and providing the volunteer food. So it's just a creative, in my mind, it's relatively creative ways of, instead of hiring private contractors, I'm hiring nonprofits and they're supplying volunteers. And that will equal to $30,000 to $50,000 even in this first year. So that could grow in the future as well as we look for 1 day, 2 day, 3 days, So that's about it. It's all about, my wife and I talked a lot about it. It says, really, you want to invest, hundreds of thousands of dollars in this effort? Well, they'd just go to the kids anyway. So why not give it a shot? And we're proud to do it, to be able to fund something like this. And it seems like we're getting great response. The ticket sales aren't where we want yet, but everybody buys late in this environment. And I got to tell you, the ticket sale, the general admission ticket is only $65 for 8 hours. Now, the VIP tickets are $175 and $250. a typical concert like this has what they call the pit. The pit is the standing area right in front of the stage. Well, because we're on a football field, it's flat. So we couldn't have folks standing up right in front of the stage, because then anybody sitting behind couldn't see.
Right.
So what we have is the VIP seats are literally 15 feet from the stage. They go 15 to 80 feet.
Right.
You can't be any closer.
Right.
In a chair, right there. So there's no pit. That's the VIP. Plus VIP is also gets access to our tents. We have the Suisun Valley Vintners and Growers Association. They're actually a nonprofit as well. They've coordinated at this point 7 different wineries to be pouring wine. And when you buy a VIP ticket, you get wine tasting.
Right.
That's a perfect,
creating an experience for folks.
The wine at the festival is exclusively Suisun Valley wine.
Love that.
As well. Yeah. So let me talk a little, if I may.
Absolutely.
Going.
So
a little bit about the artists. So, artists are really, really expensive. People don't realize how much it is. We're spending close to $175,000 on this lineup. And people say, well, we don't know anybody. We don't know anybody. The concept is, though, I told you I developed a list of up to 150 artists.
Right.
And I basically spent a year listening, if I'm on a radio or Pandora and an artist comes up that I don't know, I take a picture of it.
Right.
And then I put it into a spreadsheet, and then I go to their social media. I look at YouTube, how many subscribers they have. I look at their, Spotify, whatever it may be. If you're Matic Batson, you look at the TikTok, subscribers.
Doing your homework.
You do a little homework, you put it on a spreadsheet, but then that's just the start. Then you have to figure out who is there. So I hired FT Presents. They basically found the artist and who was representing them. Most of them are represented by William Morris Agency, half of them. And, big, but then you have to negotiate price. So the thing about it is that you're signing these people a year out. You identify them a year out. You make them an offer 9 months out, and you get the contract signed usually about 6-7 months out, right? So you're betting on how many songs they're going to have on the radio a year from now.
Yeah.
Right.
So Jackson Dean, the headliner, he was the youngest country artist to ever have a #1 hit song off a debut album. Just an incredibly talented guy. And in 5 or 10 years, people are going to look back at Vineyard Jam, Suisun Valley, and they go, "Oh my God, you had Jackson Dean." He's here."
Right.
Right.
You just have to, like Cody Johnson, as an example. He's from Dixon, and he's on the radio all the time.
Right.
But 2 or 3 years ago, he wasn't that big.
Right.
They hit it. They get to a maturity, and then they explode.
Yeah.
So we have Restless Road. There's a trio of 3 young guys. A really interesting band is Matic Batson. Maddox, he is 15 years old. He's essentially the Justin Bieber of country music.
Gotcha.
This guy has a social media following of millions of, his videos have 10 million views. He puts something out, and a month later it's got 5 million views. He's a really interesting kid, and the young women love him.
Right.
And they bring a parent, as a guardian with them, but it's not going to do much for our beer sales. But we'd love to have them. So I have an example of, there's a parent bringing her daughter from Michigan.
What?
And they're literally going to drive out. They're going to sleep in the van.
Wow.
And they get here. So when I told, we were talking to Maddox Batson, his father, and his team yesterday, and we've negotiated a meet and greet.
Nice.
And it's expensive, though. I mean, we're going to charge $250 for a signature and a photo with Maddox, and they charge up to $700 for that. But when we told him, I said, "Hey, is there any way we can get a free meet and greet from this couple, this mom and daughter coming out from Michigan?" He said, "Absolutely." He said, "The longest, we've had somebody drive 13 hours before, but I don't think we've ever had anybody drive that far."
Wow.
So they were
Michigan to Solano County.
Yeah. And you know what? It's interesting because we have 3 artists they really love. They like Matic Batson, but they like Jackson Dean and also Graylin James. So they were just 3 artists that they really love. So they decided that's the right show for us. So it's really, if Solano County needs to open up and take a look at this event, hear some of the music. And thanks to Forward Learning Group and L3 Media for helping us to market this and the podcast opportunity we get. So yeah, it's going to be a fun event. It's $65. Just come and check it out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We'll be there. We'll be avid supporters of it. Like, one of the things that I heard in your story was going from idea to execution.
Yeah.
Right. And when you talk investments, like, what I heard was the time that I've spent here in Solano County, I'm willing to invest into what the next couple of generations look like. And if that is just the start of it, is by putting on or continuing my legacy from the college, and then now birthing this music company to bring more talent. When we talk about economic development, like, you're looking, and again, thinking outside the box to bring something of this magnitude to Solano County, like, that speaks volumes on your character, who you are, and your commitment to this county. And Cam and I often talk about, like, standing alongside of individuals who share those characteristics, and we were just like, we fully will support this and make sure we do it with a standard of excellence. So
no, I love that. So I've heard the Rotary talk about it, which is good, and I thought, there's a country music show out here that's so different. And so it already piqued my interest. I have a hat waiting for a country music show. And so, because we're in this era where the younger generation, especially out here too, in California, that I've seen, they have a lot of stuff like that in Texas. And it's like you have to kind of travel to go get that experience. So the fact that it's in our backyard, I think it's really important for everyone to be able to be a part of that, because I mean, a country music show, I couldn't have imagined that. And it's also really, I've seen it become very trendy now with the younger folks.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
I think it's important for like a lot of the younger folks to actually get out and try to see what this is about too. And it's at the college.
Yeah. So I didn't specifically mention, but all of these artists are emerging artists. So I looked for people that had talent equal to superstars, but just aren't there yet. You know, Quiva, our very opening act, she's only 19 years old. She started doing videos when she was 7. She wrote her first song at 7 and taped it. So I think she has tremendous potential. Another, Tierra Kennedy, she's a Black country artist, and she was a featured singer on Beyonce's album. She was a singer, had not background, but a direct role in the Blackbird song. That's the Paul McCartney song. So yeah, I found her on Nashville podcast. She was doing a podcast on Bobby Bones, and I said, God dang, really great looking, great sound, just it's perfect. I like say, we got to get her. We got to get her.
Gotcha.
So it's people like that. So, 5 or 10 years down the road, when Maddox Batson is getting, $1 million, $2 million a gig, we're going to look back and say, oh my word. So you don't want to miss these opportunities.
Right.
Absolutely.
You don't want to miss these opportunities because it's just so much money. And there's another thing I want to point out. There's a difference. You can go to Bottle Rock. Bottle Rock was last weekend. And, or I was Country in the Park at Cal Expo. Those are massive events with 35, 40, 50,000 people there. They're a hassle. All right. We're at Solano Community College. It's a football stadium. All the parking is on site. We have 3,800 parking spaces at Solano Community College, and the max attendance is 7,000. 2 people per car. That's how I got to 7,000.
Right.
So, and even the general admission is only 80 feet from the stage. Right.
Wow.
So that's the benefit of a small festival where the experience is different. You may not have the huge artist, but you have people with talent equal to the huge artists.
Yeah.
Right.
They just haven't hit it big yet. You
Yeah.
know, so it really is a unique experience.
Yeah. So as we gear up to wrap up, a couple of things. One, Kurt, we definitely want to have you back right before the event, right? But aside from that, you know, on behalf of the L3 Media Forward Learning Group, we appreciate your investment, your commitment into this county. But the last question I have for you is, if I want to buy a ticket, where can I go and buy a ticket?
Yeah, vineyardjam.com.
Simple.
Vineyardjam.com.
Gotcha.
Just any page on that site.
Okay.
You just hit tickets.
Gotcha. It's on the
Yeah,
screen right
it's
now.
on
So
the-
go ahead and
yeah.
click on the screen, whatever camera I'm looking at, click on the screen. It'll take you directly to the website. Be there. It's going to be an amazing event with amazing artists, amazing team, amazing volunteers. We look forward to seeing you there and filling up every single parking spot in Solano County.
Yes.
Or Solano College.
Solano College. Yes, thank you.
Any last words?
No, that's it. Thank you. I really appreciate your partnership with West Wind Music, and I think it's going to be a good partnership. From a business standpoint, I always appreciate doing long-term deals. So I'm hoping this can be a long-term partnership along with the other nonprofits we're working with.
Absolutely. We look forward to seeing what the event looks like 3 years from now, right? And going back to this very first segment.
Yeah.
But again, thank you for joining us
Thank you.
on Mics and Mindsets. Ladies and gentlemen, Kurt. Any last few words?
I will be there. I told
There
you
you
guys.
go.
She's breaking the hat out.
You guys bring out your hats. Now, this is the time where we can bring our boots and our hats out. It's going to be summertime. And really just do something different to enjoy yourself this summer.